The sound of pages turning means it's time for another episode from the Meredith Library Podcast Studio, bringing you the library's latest news, information, and fun.
Good afternoon, Anna.
Good afternoon, Matthew.
We are up to episode number 14 of Check It Out on the Meredith Library Podcast Studio.
Seems like just yesterday we were recording that barely audible interview for my makeup program.
Yes, that first one way back in October. Isn't that crazy?
I know, time just flies when you're having fun.
It is, and it's so much fun here that we are going to share our fun on this episode with a guest.
We have a guest?
We do, and his name is Matthew Rose. He's waving, because we always say if we only had a video component, you could see he's waving, saying hello. But don't be shy, Matthew. Use that microphone.
How you guys doing?
We're good. How are you?
Good. I'm glad to be here.
And so we said it's Matthew Rose from the Lakes Region Planning Commission, but he likes to use Matt.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
You are quite welcome. We'd like you to start off by telling us about the Lakes Region Planning Commission that you work for.
Sure. So the Lakes Region Planning Commission is a local planning commission, just like it says in the name. It's basically encompasses 31 different communities in the Lakes region of New Hampshire. We help them with a lot of different planning aspects for municipalities like land use planning, source water protection stuff, solid waste management, environmental planning, housing. So we do a lot of different facets there.
So is the Lakes Region Planning Commission a taxpayer-supported entity? As in, do the towns and cities pay into it to belong to the commission?
Yeah, so the towns pay for our services, which is for planning and helping them through grant writing, helping them through planning out like roadwork stuff and any other projects that the town might have for us to use. And it does come from tax dollar support. You know, this residents pay taxes to municipalities and municipalities pay for our services, yes.
Do you want to tell us about your specific job at the commission?
So I'm the solid waste planner for Lakes Region Planning. Basically what I work on is anything to do with solid waste management at our local transfer stations. Definitely a part of protecting water resources, managing materials that come into transfer stations, training operators on getting their certifications, and a lot of other things to do with solid waste and environmental planning.
That's really cool. And how important is it to consider water protection? Is that something the average citizen should care about?
I definitely think so.
Yeah, me too.
Especially in the Lakes region. A statistic I always throw around is in the state of New Hampshire, our region makes up 40% of the surface water. So it's quite a bit of our water resource in our state. It's where we recreate. That's our drinking water that we're talking about. The streams and the lakes. It's protecting those resources, and especially in the state of New Hampshire where outdoor recreation and a lot of other things take place with our water.
So what are some things that an average person living in the Lakes region can do to be a better, more environmentally conscious water protector?
Well, for instance, what kind of things you're buying. If there's something that has harmful chemicals that could pollute the groundwater, maybe we should divert from that. Some of our activities, like changing oil out of your car, for instance, making sure that you have something to catch that oil instead of letting it drip on the lawn. Maybe another part of that is doing more recycling efforts, buying materials that are a little bit more eco-friendly instead of things that get thrown away.
All right, that sounds really good. Yeah, because there's things that everyone can do. And one of the things is disposing of your hazardous waste materials correctly, right?
Yep.
So should we segue?
Yes, that's a great segue. Thank you, Anna. So, Matt, you wanted to talk to us today about the Lakes Region Household Hazardous Waste Collection that will be coming up soon, or I should say collections, plural, because they take place in more than one location across different times, right? So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Sure. Again, thank you for letting me be on the show to talk about this. The collection is for any residents that are part of our participating communities. We have towns that pay for the collection event for cleaning up household hazardous waste. So these are like chemicals that you might have from household usage, like anything from drain cleaner down to pesticides to kind of like chemicals that are like in paints, oil-based products, and so on. And this is a responsible way to actually dispose of those things without polluting groundwater or throwing them, in the woods somewhere, or, maybe the transfer station doesn't take these kinds of chemicals. So this is a place where they can go. It's for the taxpayers of the participating communities. They can bring up to 10 gallons or 50 pounds of hazardous waste to one of these collections. And there's multiple sites throughout the year people can go to in the Lakes region.
All right. So can you give us some examples of what kinds of materials? I know you just mentioned a few things, like you mentioned paint, but I know that has a little caveat you want to explain about that. And so just when people are listening, what kind of things would they be looking around their house thinking they should take with them to one of these events?
So there's a couple different places in the house where you want to look for some stuff. For instance, like the garage. Right.
That's what came to my mind.
Yeah. Or
the bathroom.
Or the bathroom, right? If like you're the person that does your own oil changes, for instance, I already brought that one up. Waste oil can come to our collection. Could also go to some transfer stations or other areas as well that, maybe recycle that oil for heating. But it can go to our collection. Antifreeze is something that is a harmful chemical that a lot of people have lying around that can come to our collection. Believe it or not, car wax and car polish have plastics and chemicals in them that are harmful to water. Any kind of fluids that go into a vehicle are probably going to be hazardous waste. If you're a gardener, if you have pesticides, or if you have pool chemicals, or if you have any kind of herbicides or tar for roofing, or if you have metal polish or oven cleaner, or if you have dry cleaning fluids or epoxies or resins or anything that's oil-based. These are all things that you can bring to the collection for disposal.
Okay. And it sounds like a lot of the liquids that you mentioned, right? So this is not taking into account something like an air conditioner or something like that.
This is a great topic. Like, what can you bring to the transfer station? What can't you bring to the transfer station?
Right. That's really where I was going with it. So, yeah.
If you had an air conditioner, that's something that can go to your transfer station.
Okay.
If you were confused about that, though, one tip that I usually tell people is talk to your transfer station attendant and see if they accept that kind of material first. More than likely, it would be free to bring it to your transfer station versus paying to get rid of it.
Okay.
Where can I find information about the ins and outs of what will and won't be accepted? I'm seeing that we've got some pamphlets here, and so where could I get a pamphlet, or is there somewhere online that I could find the information?
Yeah. Always, I recommend that you go to the Lakes Region Planning Commission website. I'll just read it off so that people can hear what it is. So it's www.lakesrpc.nh.gov. And that's where we frequently update every single year all the resources for our collection. We update some of our flyers and pamphlets that we're handing out for the year. We do ask a lot of our participating communities, we ask all of our communities to maybe include it on their town websites. I know a lot of our towns in the Lakes region have that as a link right on their website. So if somebody,
that makes sense.
Yeah, if somebody wants to look on the municipal website, they can find it. But the Lakes region website where I work, that is definitely the most current up-to-date information. With that, I would say to somebody looking on our website, look for our flyers and look for our updated pamphlets. So this year is our 2024 pamphlet. The pamphlet has all the information that you need to know for events, locations, times, materials you can bring, the limits in which you can bring, and any kind of extra resources that you might be interested in.
Okay, so people can download the pamphlets as PDFs on your website?
That's correct.
And then they can distribute them to their own groups or organizations or neighbors or whatever as
Absolutely.
Necessary? Okay, great.
Absolutely.
And it's important to get the most updated one because slight things can change year to year, right?
Yeah, even like this year we changed a few things. So the difference between 2023 and 2024 was in 2023 we only had 2 collection days. The last Saturday of July and the first Saturday in August. But in 2024, we actually changed our collection days a little bit to give residents a little bit more of a expanded time frame in which they can go to collections. A lot of times during the summer, we found out that people are traveling. They're going on vacation and they might not be in the area. So we now actually have a June collection, a July collection, an August collection, and 2 different collection days in September. And that is to kind of get more people involved with the collection, and it's also to give people more extra time in case they miss an event.
All right. Can you give us those dates? And I know people can check the website, but let's get them excited to know that the ones that are upcoming that they can still attend.
Yeah, and I'll even tell you where the locations are too.
Great.
We did already have 2 collections. One was June 22nd, and that was in the town of Franklin. And then we did one this past Saturday, which was July 27th, and that was Guilford and Meredith. So moving forward, August 3rd, we're going to have a collection event in Moultonborough and in Bristol. Then September 28th, 2024, we're going to have Laconia's collection. And then we're also offering a special weekday collection, which is September 26th, and that's going to be in Tuftonboro.
Since you were mentioning the locations, I think I understand it, but let's make sure we get confirmation from you. People who are from, let's say, Meredith, because most of our listeners would think we're Meredith. So even though you mentioned the Meredith date went by, they can still bring the things to the Laconia collection.
Absolutely.
Wherever, right? Okay.
Absolutely. If I was a Meredith resident, let's just say, your closest location probably would be the town of Meredith. But if you were on vacation or you didn't know about the collection ahead of time and you missed it, you could definitely go to the Laconia collection to bring your stuff there. Anybody in these participating communities can go to any one of the collection sites they want to that's convenient for them.
Okay.
So how would I know if the town I live in is a participating community in this event?
So I get that question quite often. Basically, you're going to be listed as one of the participating communities on our website, on our pamphlet and outreach materials. If you're not a participating community, we ask that you don't go to our collection. But if you're not, there is another option for you. You can go to the facility called Lakes Region Household Hazardous Waste Product Facility. That's a mouthful.
Yeah. And you said that in one breath. Very impressive.
Oh, it's located in Wolfboro, New Hampshire. And the reason why I bring them up is because that is a stationary location that is open to all of the public. You don't have to be a participating community. You can go to that location, and they're open up every 3rd Saturday of the month, starting in May all the way until October.
Okay, so there are options then for people. So there is never an acceptable reason to be, as you said, dumping it in the woods or something. There is a place that you can bring this stuff to one way or another.
Right.
Can you walk us through the typical experience someone has? So they're going to come to one of these collections, how about on August 3rd, perhaps, or September 28th. Yeah. And what would they expect when they arrive and pull up at I'm assuming that each place is at that town's transfer station. Is that true?
That actually is not true.
Oh.
And that is something people bring up a lot.
Oh, I'm glad we asked that. Okay.
So like, for instance, let's go to August 3rd. So that's this coming Saturday. And one of our collection sites is the Newfound Regional High School. So that's not the transfer station. So what could you expect? A lot of our sites have a longer driveway, and we do that for traffic flow. People will show up with materials in the back end of their trunk or their tailgate or something like that, and they're driving in a line. And there should be signage that will direct you where to go. As you pull up in that line, what will happen is you'll encounter surveyors first. Usually they're volunteer people that are donating their time for this. What they're doing is they're asking a couple basic questions. What town are you from? How did you hear about us? So we know what kind of advertisement reached you. Have you been before? Are you a repeat customer, or are you new to this? We also ask about what months are best for you to go to a collection. And that's part of the reason why we expanded our collection a little bit this year, is because people said they wanted different times.
Well, that's good. So that the feedback is useful. When when people are giving the feedback, they know that it's being taken seriously.
Yeah, we usually get a pretty positive feedback on that. People like that we ask those questions because we're taking, their time into consideration. Mm-hmm. After you go through surveying, there's going to be people that are going to be directing traffic, and they might ask you to stop, or they might ask you to proceed forward or go to this tent. And there's what's called the collection tent, and that's where our waste hauler, who's a certified waste hauler for handling hazardous waste, they will be there with professional people in hazmat suits that will ask you not to leave your vehicle. They ask you to just pop the trunk or pop the tailgate. They will talk to you. They will communicate with you. They'll grab your materials, and after you're done, they'll say, okay, you're done. And then you exit the line, and that's it.
Okay. So I'm picturing those hazmat suits now. So it almost is a fun activity for the kids because they get to see this. So it looks like a science fiction movie, like the, Contagion or something like that.
Yes. Fun for the kids, not fun for the person wearing the suit on a hot summer day.
I bet.
Oh. Unless you're attending this event at the most busy period of time, how long do you think it would take someone to go through the whole process?
That's interesting. I would say probably 10 minutes.
Wow, really
So
quick.
there's really no excuse.
And it all depends. So I'll give you a little bit of varying situation on that. You know, if you're the person that likes to show up first thing in the morning, that's generally speaking where we get jam-packed with vehicles. First thing in the morning. Yep. And we get a whole line of people, and then we have to work through that line. After first thing in the morning, it's usually a pretty steady flow. I would say this is the majority of our sites. It's usually pretty steady traffic flow at that point. And that's when I'll say it'll take maybe 10 minutes. Now, the one instance where there might be a little bit of a delay is if somebody brings in a really interesting chemical that we haven't seen before and we've got to identify what it is, or maybe they brought something they weren't supposed to bring. And we have to just talk with them and clarify what things are. Sometimes people don't know what they're bringing in. Hey, I got a mixed container with who knows what's in it. And we've got to take some time to identify what it is.
That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you would like the public to know about this event or about responsible hazardous waste management or anything else?
Mainly what I want people to know is that they can always contact Lakes Region Planning Commission with questions. You can contact me. I'm the solid waste planner. My name's Matt Rose. You can call me. It's right on the website where my phone number is. You can also call our main line and they'll direct you to somebody who can help you, aka me or one of my coworkers, of course. Another thing too is just check out our website. We've got more than just hazardous waste on there. We've got a lot of community event posted on there. We have a lot of projects that we're currently working on that maybe your community is involved with and you want some more information on it. There's a lot of really good information that we add from best management practices to New Hampshire DES regulations and best management practices. So definitely check that out. Also, too, we have social media. We have Facebook and Instagram. If you want to get regularly updated on what's going on with our collection dates, we make social media outreach posts where we let people know about that stuff.
Okay, great. Thank you. And before we let you go, we have a question of the episode that we have every time. And Anna deserves the credit. She came up with a great question for today's episode. So I'm going to let her ask you.
All right, Matt. Based on your own personality, which hazardous waste material would you say that you are and why?
That's a good question. I think my material would be drain cleaner. And the reason why is because I like to solve problems.
Okay, well, better than being caustic for that reason. I like that. Okay. You like to solve problems. All right. Anna, are you ready to share your answer?
I would be rat poison because I don't tolerate rats. So that's why.
I like that. All right. For me, I would say I would be a rechargeable battery because I have so much energy.
There you go.
Perfect. Okay. Yes. Well, thank you for coming into the library today and letting us chat. And I feel like I learned stuff. I'm definitely going to be letting my dad know about the event in Bristol on Saturday.
So it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
Great time, man. Thank you. We appreciate it. And we enjoyed having you with us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
That's going to do it for us here on episode number 14 of Check It Out. Well, Anna, it was great as always.
Had a wonderful time.
All right. We'll see everyone next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Sounds like we're at the end of another chapter. Podcast music titled Daytime TV Theme by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0. Podcast copyright 2024. Meredith Library Podcast Studio.